So just like normal, on Google Classroom, today's date, our assignment is commuting and credit cards. And so this is what it looks like. This first table might look familiar to you. So you're going to find a job near the house that you've picked out. You're going to calculate the distance to work, how many miles, multiply it by 2 for the fact that you'd be going to work and coming back home. So that's the round trip. Then divide by your car's miles per gallon. If you totaled your car and you need to get a new car, then go ahead and do that now and figure out your new MPG. Then multiply by the local gas price. Luckily for most of you right now, the gas price has dropped significantly. After that, you're going to multiply by the number of days that you plan to work. Most of you will be working 5 days a week, a 9-to-5 job, but some of you might have something different. Then you're going to calculate the cost of your commute back home. And by this, I mean to like visit your parents or your friends. You might not do this every single month, but sometimes you'll have to do it for Thanksgiving or for Christmas or things like that. So that's the part of the assignment that has to do with commuting. Does anybody have any question about those?
No.
Well, what if we don't want to visit our parents and we want to keep it as strict as staying home?
Go ahead and calculate what it would cost just in case you come back to your hometown. Some of you might be living near where you're living now, and that's not as big of a cost. But for some of you that are planning on living in different states, that could be a different cost. So even if it's just calculating the cost for you to come back for a Notre Dame high school reunion, because I know that's all what you want to do.
No.
But any other questions about the first two?
No. I'm just afraid I'll get like confused. Like
Well, one benefit is as soon as I'm done with this, I will upload this as a video. So you can re-listen to it. But really the steps each time. So if you find your distance to work, if it was 100 miles here, then if you multiply it by 2, it would become 200 miles. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so then after that, there are 2 links here about credit cards. One is about how credit cards work, and another one is about like rules and advice for credit cards. And once you've read both of the articles, and I really do mean read both of the articles, neither one of them are very long, I want you to list 20 things you didn't know that you found interesting or think are most important about credit cards.
All right.
Any questions there?
No.
Nah.
Okay. And then the last step is using the NerdWallet recommendation quiz to determine which credit card is best for you. If you already have a credit score, you can use that one. Otherwise, you're going to use average score. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So you'll click on the link. And then click on credit card recommendations. And your screen will take you straight to this. I've already taken it just to see how it works. So how much do we know about credit cards? I would go based off of the age of your class, that most of you know very little about credit cards, but maybe you know more. So you'll just click on whichever answer applies best for you. How do you feel about shopping for a card? Are you relaxed? Are you scared? Let's say, you're young, you've never had one before. Let's say you're nervous. Then the next thing asks what your credit score is these days. Now, most of you probably don't know what your credit score is. And when you start out, you normally start kind of in this average range. You really start with no credit, but people don't let you start with no credit. But you'll get denied from a lot of credit cards your first time because you don't actually have credit. So if
your credit score though.
What?
Like, how do you find your credit score though?
If you don't know your credit score, you probably don't have one. So your credit score would be based off of a credit card, not a debit credit card, but a credit card.
Oh.
And so most people your age don't have one. So you would just start with average. And then you can decide what you think you would like from your credit card. Maybe you're really interested in travel, so you want your money back to go towards travel. Maybe you don't want to pay, you don't really care about the rewards that you get. You just don't want to pay much in interest when they let you borrow money. Maybe because you're new for a card, you want to just build a lot of good credit. Or you're interested in cashback. Now, personally, I care the most about cashback, so I click on that. If you don't already carry a credit card, then skip this question. Do you have your eye on a specific card? If maybe you really like the Capital One ads or something like that, or maybe you just don't know anything about credit cards, regardless, you can click I don't have a card in mind right now. Pick which thing sounds better for you. Personally, I like to keep things simple. And then you should know roughly how much you would spend in a month based off of what you were doing in college / what your, remember how we did the 50, 30, 20 rule where you took 50% of your taxable income. So let's say I'd probably spend about that much per month. It depends on how much you're making. Think about how much you spend for different things. You know how much you spend on per month for groceries. I'm just gonna leave it like this, but you can mess around with these numbers if you want to. And then you don't need to create an account. So just click, nope, show me my results. Okay, so here they gave me 2 different cards. Sometimes you might have more. If you have more, then you need to do more. But here you'll see that they list the pros and cons, and back on your sheet, I gave you a column to list the pros and cons. So you'll list all of those, and you might want to do a little bit of extra reading because some of you might not know what is APR. Hopefully after reading those 2 articles, you'll know a little bit more about what APR is. But you can look at product details to read a little bit more about the card and see which one works best for you. And then depending on which one works best, let's say I really like that this card doesn't have an annual fee. So an annual fee means that just for having the card once a year, you have to pay to have it. And I don't really want to pay to have the card. Like $40 for the year isn't that much, but I just don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to have no fees, no late fees. And so I really just like this Visa credit card. And so in this one, that last box where it says which one would you pick and why, just tell me which one, or you can have more than one credit card. So maybe you'll say I want both for a specific reason, which you might learn more about that in these 2 links. Does anybody have any questions about all of that?
No.
Okay, sounds like we're all good to go. So what I'm gonna do is just let y'all sign out and get started. Make sure that you click turn it in because that's how I'm taking attendance at the end of class. Since this is just our first day, I didn't give you guys any homework. So you just need to get this done before the end of the period. If you get done early, then you have free time.
Cool. All right.
All right. Have a great day, you guys. Enjoy your digital learning.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, so we're all signing off. Okay. Can't find it. And go.
Bye, Miss Thompson.
Bye, Grant. Have a good day.
You too, Miss Thompson.